Hey boys and girls, we are on our first unit, which covers prehistory up until early civilizations. And today we are going to specifically talk about prehistory to the Paleolithic era. Now this is history class, so I'm sure you're asking, what is prehistory? Prehistory is the time before written records, before people started writing things down, cave art, drawing things in the dirt, that type of thing. Prehistory we don't have written records of those things. People just were making assumptions and inferences about this is how they lived, but we're not 100% sure. Whereas with history, people started writing things down, so we have a better idea of how they lived, how they survived, because people wrote things down. They wrote records down, journals, records of things, transactions and things like that. So that is prehistory, before anything was written down. Our first set of early humans is the Australopithecines, as you can see here. The key things you want to remember about the Australopithecines is they were the first ones to have opposable thumbs, free opposable thumbs. And if you don't think that's a big deal, try taping your thumbs to your hand for about 20 minutes and doing the day-to-day stuff that you normally do without thinking about using your thumbs. Might give you a different little perspective on that. And they were the first human-like creature to walk upright. Two very important things: opposable thumbs and walking upright. Then we have the hominids. The hominids were the first human-like creatures. And the first one, or the most famous, is Lucy, and she was discovered in 1974 by a guy named Donald Johansen. And these humans, or early humans, were the first found in East Africa along the Great Rift Valley. And Africa is the home to the first humans. First people emerged out of Africa and then walked the earth until they populated the other parts of the earth. Next, here is the skeletal remains of Lucy, and this is about where her remains were found. And after many studies, they have recently determined that Lucy died after she fell out of a tree. So, there you go. And here are some skeletal remains in the museum of Lucy. Next we have Homo erectus, which means upright man. What do you got to know about these guys? They were more intelligent, they had bigger brains, which allowed them to develop technology. In this picture here you see the guy on the left. He's got a stone, he's got a stick, and he's using that stone to sharpen the stick to make a spear. That is technology. That was technology to those people. And technology allows them to adapt, to survive. Here you can see Homo erectus, Homo habilis we kind of skipped over, but you got your Australopithecines right here. Excuse me. And next we have the Neanderthals. Significant about Neanderthals is they were powerfully built, which made, their bodies were kind of evolving, which is important because, again, life back then was very difficult, especially if you killed like a large animal. You had to drag it back, you had to move things to build shelter, those types of things. They were also the first to have burial rituals. In the past, when somebody died with these other early humans, they just kind of left them there, or they may have moved them somewhere so they were out of the way. The Neanderthals actually had a ritual. When someone died, they buried them and kind of honored or celebrated them. And they were the first group to really try to control the world around them and explain it. Why is this happening? They tried to develop things that, again, would allow them to survive and better understand the world that they were living in. And you can see Neanderthals are closest relative to the early human period. And as you can see here, people's brains, or I should say early human brains, grew as people evolved. And we're talking, thousands of years here. I'm sorry, millions of years. This wasn't just something that happened 1,000 years ago. This is over a long, long period of time. And again, a key idea, a key concept, as brains grew, so did intelligence, which allows for people to adapt and survive. Very important. Here again, the evolution of man, evolution of Homer. And modern day men are kind of compared to cavemen, and the fact that they're not quite as evolutionary as women, if you will. And then Africa. Africa is a big thing because early humans emerged from here, and then they spread to other parts of the world, up into Asia, Africa, or Northern Africa, Europe, all the way over to the Americas. And this happened between 400 and 100,000 years ago. So this took a long time for people to start here and then get to the Americas. All right. Early human societies met their needs by hunting animals, gathering foods like nuts, roots, other edible plants. Okay, they were hunters and gatherers, which meant they were nomads. Okay, they followed the herds because they depended on those herds as a way of life: food, clothing, shelter. If you think about the Plains Indians in the United States, they survived on the buffalo for everything, and they traveled with the buffalo because that was their way of life. Okay, so they were always on the move. Temporary shelters, permanent shelters, permanent settlements wouldn't come along until much later, which we'll talk about soon. Paleolithic era. Paleo, old, lithic, stone, so old Stone Age. Characteristics, okay, began over 2 million years ago, so that's kind of important. And they mastered uses of fire. Now, they did not discover, or they discovered fire, yes, but they did not invent fire. They discovered it. All right, so that was kind of a big thing. Now they could cook meat, stay warm, protect themselves, etc. And obviously use it as a source of light. They used cave art to communicate information possibly about their clan, how they hunted, what they were hunting. Maybe in this picture here you can see, this might indicate, whoa, there's a lot of people in this group. This could be kind of like a family portrait, if you will, back in ancient times. Cave art can be found in Europe. This is one of the most famous, and Lascaux cave paintings. This is in France. Here are some other locations. Now, these are the ones that have been discovered. Obviously, there are probably many others that have not been discovered because over time, those things are lost to changes in the earth, changes in the geography and the environment. Okay, and they were made of they lived in clans, which was about 30 to 40 people, hunters, gatherers, and they also, again, developed an oral language, which was probably grunts, other sounds, which would lead to the formation of words, sentences, and things like that. Okay, but at first, people didn't know how to communicate. It was something that developed over time. And that's it. Any questions? Write them down on your note sheet. Bring them to class tomorrow. Again, if you missed some stuff, go back and check it out. Make sure, again, you definitely know the characteristics of the Paleolithic era, the role of Africa, and then some of the key characteristics of the early humans: opposable thumbs, bigger brains, etc. See you guys tomorrow.